Today is March 15th. What a crazy time we're living in right now. I'm going to do a what does the universe want us to know reading, a little bit more open. I will take into consideration some of the astrology, but this is more timeless. That said, so I'll start actually with pulling 3 advice cards from this deck. I'll put them out here. While I'm shuffling, I want to talk a little bit about the astrology right now and what's coming up, actually. So right now there is let me just ask for 3 cards, please, for Aries. What the universe wants Aries to know right now. 3 cards face down. What the universe wants Aries to know. So as we speak, there is an exact square between the Chiron in Aries and the North and the South nodes. The South node is in Capricorn, so that's institutions, authority, the past. So things of the past. And then the North node is going to be in Cancer, in our 4th house, but that's also the sign of nurturing, the sign of caring, and Mercury rules the lungs, which this virus is in charge of. Mercury is, and I will segue into the astrology for this week, Mercury is moving back into Pisces. He is direct now. He's going back into Pisces. So I imagine that we'll be hearing about more cases because Mercury gets wetter. So Mercury expanding there. And then the sun moves into Aries on the 19th, a little bit early this year, which is going to start drying things out. Saturn moves, this is a big movement, right? This is once every 28, 30 year cycle. Saturn changes signs every 2 to 3 years. So Saturn is going into Aquarius on the 21st. He will be back in Capricorn to finish up his rounds in July. So we may hear a second reprieve of whatever we're dealing with now. But him, now remember, Saturn and Uranus is Saturn's father. And Saturn wins at the end of the day between the battle between the two of them. So him going into Aquarius is also to sort of put some order into Aquarian issues. Now Uranus is in Taurus right now. So those two are going to be having an interesting conversation. And then on the 24th, we have a new moon. My birthday's on the 25th, so that new moon is more than welcome. Well, let's see how things go out. But I'm hoping that now it's just time to play out, right? Like there's no more news. It's gone as wide as it's going to go. And now it's just time to play it out and heal it. That said, let's see what does the universe want us to know right now. Okay. Wisdom, and look at that earth that she's holding, and all the greenness of here. And she holds the power, like the light in her hands. So that's kind of like this healing light. And the thing I wanted to say about the Chiron square, the nodes, is that is a healing crisis, right? It talks about, how do we want to heal this? Do we want to do business as usual? Do we want to leave it up to the institutions, the way things have been done in the past? Or are we going to move more towards a caring, nurturing, mothering, mother earthing future? And so to me, I was thinking also, it's like sometimes when we are too active in our own lives, the universe brings us one of these healing crises so that we have to sit still, right? So you may be doing too much work and you accidentally trip and break your ankle and you're forced to stay in bed for a few weeks. Or you're overdoing it and your immune system is weak and you get sick. Whatever it is, once we hit this sort of moment of overload, we have to stop and sit down and take the foot off the brake, or put the foot on the brake, take the foot off the gas. And I kind of feel like this is what's going on right now. That the universe itself is like, okay, time out. I mean, it's so interesting that all of us are somehow being confined to our homes, right? Which is Cancer. That's the square, right? In order to heal, Chiron and Aries, you have to go into your home, the North Node in Cancer. And as people are spending more times with their family and caring for their family, the phones are being put off, people are playing games, they're cooking, they're doing different kind of things. And I've read a lot of people like, I'm happy to find myself in quarantine. Now, it's interesting, and I think what this means to me is the wisdom that we are going to be given in this period, the awakenings that are coming to us with this Mercury. Now it went back into Aquarius and going into Pisces, so Mercury is bringing new lessons about how we need to heal, about what we need to heal. And it's now up to us to take this wisdom, and you see how those balls like replicate, and carry it forward, to take this light that comes from above, bring it into the earth and multiply it, right? So that's very interesting. Let's get and I got an email update today from one of the energy people that I work with, and she was saying, be very, very careful about what it is that you put out into the universe, because it's, it's a living being. And so, yes, please take the time to purify and sanctify your body, sanitize your body, but also to be wise about the energy and not putting too much negativity out. And that's interesting because we got the awareness card here. And this is the Seven of Cups, so it's like, this is an interesting dichotomy here. One that talks about how you use information, what you do with information, right? One is the ability to improve, to multiply, to transmute light into something, to transmute light into this greenery, into life. Another is to get sort of trapped in this fear body. And so this is really the challenge about finding the wisdom in the fear, about in something that is veiled as a big bad monster. What is the universal wisdom that can come out of it, that's emerging? So what can we learn from what's going on right now? And how do we use it? How do we use that information, that light, whatever is going on, how do we use it and transform it into something that's concrete on our own earthly plane, right? It's enough to be a light, can't just say we are light workers. There has to be a practical execution of this, a healing of, it's almost like our jobs, right? If then it's part of our job to care for the rest of the community by transmuting this light into something that can grow and blossom and bloom on our planet. And so that means not being one of the people who falls for the darkness or who gets shrouded in darkness, but to be able to rise above and see what's really going on, or see the spiritual in what's happening. Okay. What is the lesson? What message does the universe want to bring us about our lesson? Ooh. Oh, interesting. Joan of Arc, the voice of truth. Stand strong, focus on your purpose, release the fear of persecution, and speak your truth. That is so interesting that it's coming up, especially like you see with those white lilies and that white star there, that now is really a time for us to perhaps give an alternative spin on what's happening instead of getting sucked into the panic, to stay. And those lilies are about healing and new birth and the birthing of something new. Again, they're all interesting. They're all female forms emerging, right? So this is very much that Cancerian energy, I think. That it's really time for us to nurture the universe around us, right? To be a nurturing influence inside all of this fear that's going on right now. I'm thinking of, I think it was a post by Reese Witherspoon that I had read once. She was doing a speech, and she was saying that in all the movies, the woman turns to the guy and says, "What do we do now?" And she spoke to the audience. This was why she started her own production company that focuses only on producing female films or stories about females. She said, "Have you ever known a woman in a crisis who didn't know what to do?" Right? And so that's kind of what this is saying to me, to really tap into that mother wisdom that lies inside of all of us, that knows that to get out of this, we have to care for each other. There needs to be compassion. We have to feed and multiply, that it's not about drowning in fear. It's about, facing the truth and giving birth to something new. Let me get... So this is very interesting. So if you're feeling frightened now, it's an understandable response. That's what the brain does. There's something that's terrifying. I have put on the community part of my channel a list of things you can do to maintain normality in this moment. It's very important, especially if you have kids, but it's very important for your mind that you not get sucked into the fear and the doom of gloom, right? Spending the entire day in front of the television. Okay. Oh, there she is. Look at that. All right, and this was underneath. So the Empress came out, and behind the Empress was the Ten of Wands, right? So instead of focusing on the doom and gloom and all that has to be done and this is going to be a long, hard battle, she comes out on top, right? So it's almost like all these things that we're having to deal with right now are opportunities, are seeds. They're things that can be planted. Like these are the roots of a forest that's behind her. So all of these challenges that we have in front of us right now, how can we turn each one of those into its own tree, right? And look at all of the nature images that are coming up. So this is very much connected to getting back in touch with nature around us. Let's get another card, please. One more card for Aries. What does the universe want Aries to know? Oh. And there it is. So this is to me kind of that Saturn Uranus energy, is that it's all of this is happening to bring down an old system. This is that south node. This is exactly what it is that we're dealing with right here. This is the north node in Cancer, and this is the south node in Capricorn. So what's happening is, and these are all telling the same story, it's a breaking of the old, breaking through of the old kind of fear-based system and moving into a new spiritual phase, moving into transmuting from one system to another, from taking spiritual energy and bringing it to the earth, breaking out of a fear-based, fear-mongering system to shed sort of spiritual light and calmness. There's that blue figure emerging from the dark. Turning the 10 of Wands into the Empress. And all of this is happening, and this is what it talks about, because this came out under the Voice of Truth card, that it's all happening to bring down a system that's not working anymore, to change the way we live, to take out the old institutions. And that's what Pluto's been doing. Pluto in Capricorn has been knocking down. If you think about when Pluto went into Capricorn, it was the first sort of stock collapse. And since he's been in there, he's been taking out one industry at a time. So this really asks us to keep our heads, to not get sucked into, to see the bigger picture of what's going on. To me, that's what's really this is the sort of the final words, I think, of Mercury and Aquarius. Like, look at the bigger picture. And now as Mercury heads into Pisces and is going to be taking on we're going to know more and more about how we heal, right? And that's that healing crisis with the Chiron and the North nodes. So how do we go about healing? And it starts with, to me, it starts with each one of us, taking care of our own family. And if we don't have family, whatever circle we call a family, if it's not a family by birth, the family by choice, and caring for that family and shedding the light and helping those around us blossom and grow, and seeing possibilities, seeing the alternatives, seeing past the illusions of the minds and seeing what's concrete. It's almost like that figure there is a projection, and that figure inside looks far more solid. And bringing an awareness, bringing the truth about growth and love and caring for our planet, and that it's not all about work, and that systems are collapsing. I want to get this for an advice. And then all right, I'm going to do 2 different advice cards and then get an angel card. Okay, so this is really, to me, like a calling. Like when you get your marching orders, like this is our marching order. Be wise, don't fall for the bullshit, nurture those around you, understand that there is a bigger process at work here, but that is meant to bring something more beautiful, something more sustainable, something healthier. Interesting. Okay, so what this says, so this is the advice card. Remember, the advice card is solitude. So if any of you were wondering, should I self-isolate or not? Here's your answer. I know this isn't possible for everyone. because, and hopefully the US will do the right thing. But let's see what this says. Okay. Meditation is required when you receive the solitude card as a sign. Empty your mind of superfluous thoughts and allow stillness to flow through your whole being. This is not an advantageous time to ask questions or push forward in any way. Rather, it's a period for a conscious retreat. What's called for now is to step back and take your focus off of your life and your troubles. You'll be surprised how things sort themselves out once you've replenished your energy by means of a much needed rest and time out. Okay, so that's kind of what I said at the beginning, you know, talking about how this is kind of like Mother Nature saying, yo, you guys are doing way too much. We need to take a time out. We need to regroup. We need to collect our energy. We need to also get our priorities back into line. What's important, you know, and it's interesting. Look at the two different forms of the houses, right? It's like the house feels like it's breaking down. So we need to go in and fix it and reflect and use our wisdom to, well, what needs to happen? What needs to change? What's really going on here? That's interesting. And this is on a waning moon, remember? And it talks about there's that new moon on the 24th. So yeah, this is really for right now. Now I wanted to get this other one because I always call this my Pisces deck. And since Mercury is headed into Pisces, I figured this might help. But what I find actually interesting also is that, you know, the past couple of years have been so right versus left, stay versus leave, Republicans, Democrats, and we've been pigeoning ourselves further and further into our corners, right? Where the idea of unity, of a common vision was becoming nearly impossible. And the only way it was going to happen is if there was some sort of civil war, right? Or some sort of tragic intervention that puts both sides on the same footing, right? So right now, it's not right versus left, stay versus leave, me versus you. It's us. We're all in this together, and we're all connected, and we're only as healthy as the weakest person. You know, I was reading an article this morning written at the end of January talking about this one patient that had infected a German patient. Now, that German patient happened to be the guy who then brought it to Italy. And this was written back at the end of January. There was like, we're all so connected, you know. One person has a meeting in Shanghai and 20,000 people in Italy are ill. So it's not me against you or left against right, north against south. We're all connected. And that's really what this is about. You know, if I'm not well, it affects everyone else. And right now, the thing I find really interesting is that we're quarantining to keep ourselves safe. But, you know, most of us, if we're under 60, if we're healthy, if we don't smoke, blah, 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 will technically get away unscathed. But in Italy, we're quarantining to protect the weak, you know, to protect the people who won't be okay and to make sure that they have hospital beds. Why? Because we would want somebody to do the same for us in the same situation. And so right now it's finally acting, you know, the promise of Jesus, do unto others as you would have done unto you. You know, it's like, well, we would want to feel protected, so we're going to protect. And what's happening, actually, I noticed even on Facebook, is that the trolling on the comments section, which are usually heartless and hideous, has calmed down. You know, there's obviously still the discussions and stuff like that, but now there's a common concern, and so interesting. Interesting. I'll read this in a second. There's a common concern that's uniting us, and so ironically, this fear is what's bringing us together somehow. But let's not lose it. So this says that we are the keepers of the earth. You are not alone. Ancient ancestors stand beside you, right? And I was saying we're all connected, and look at the messages that are showing up here about the earth and caring for it. And this is really, this to me, and so the universe has put us on a timeout, right? It's like, you've done too much. I need you guys to take a seat, to reflect, to think about what you've done, but also like what you're doing to each other, to the earth, where your priorities are. Is it on work or is it on caring for people? Your systems, are they healthy or are they not healthy? And so it's a real time of, as many of us face this going into quarantine, this is a serious time of reflection into how do we behave when we get out, because this will pass, as everything does. And if we can't walk out and keep it business as normal, right? It can't be that way. The point of this solitude is to help us bring this tower down and to bring something new, to grow something new. And this, this to me is that Venus in Taurus, which is there right now. So, look to your Venus in Taurus, look to your Cancer house right now for healing. Let me read this. Okay. You are supported. You do not stand alone. You have a magnificent team of helpers, both in this world and of the earth, who are here to help you every step of the way. Call upon them for assistance. They are here to help. The keepers of the earth acknowledge the work that you have done already and are ready to work through you. So that's kind of what I said before. The people of us who are light workers, we have a responsibility to, and look at all these like earth symbols and moon symbols. We have a responsibility to be the ones who heal. And I think that's interesting that the Chiron is in Aries, squaring that North Node in Cancer, right? It's like, wake up, even particularly early Aries signs, 0 to 10, I would say. It's a wake-up call that we are responsible for healing and nurturing our own little universe into healing. Let me continue here. So, they bow at your feet and thank you for wanting to stand for them, to devote your life to protecting the earth in your unique way. It is time to increase your capacity to receive support in the physical realm. Very interesting. This can come in the form of financial abundance, acts of service from strangers, or people flocking to help you in your work. The only thing that is stopping you right now is your capacity to receive support. You deserve to be rewarded for the work that you are doing. You do not need to go at it alone. Call upon the keepers of the earth to help you in your mission. Open your heart and your mind to receiving more than you ever thought possible. What kind of support do you need? Call it in right away. Interesting. And here's the activation. This is a meditation prayer, if you like. It says, hold your hand to your heart and say, I am open to receiving a whole new level of support for my life and my work, and I call it in now. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So let's get one last card. Pulled this out for the occasion. It's my Angel Oracle deck. I rarely use it, but I thought we could use little extra blessings from above. So what does the universe want Aries to know right now? We'll take that one. gosh. Oh my gosh. I love it when this happens. The angel of wisdom. I kid you not. Read it there. Wisdom comes from the depths of my experience. So if anyone's like, why is this all happening? The answer is to bring us wisdom. So like I said, it's a really good time to reflect while we're in this kind of moment of solitude. What can we do? What do I need? So what can I do? What do I need to be able to be a source of healing, a source of growth? What do I need to be able to speak my truth? What do I need to help turn these 10 barren wands into a rich forest? And that was it. Sorry, that was sort of a dramatic pause there. I didn't have a third one. Let me read this. So, another one without the page numbers. Killing me, guys. Sorry. Now I gotta literally go through these one by one. Wisdom, put page numbers. Okay, here we go. So, the angelic realm is the angel of the heaven of paradise. The angelic function is to bring wisdom into the lives of all of us. The gifts for the earth, interesting. It can help you to become receptive to the wisdom of God. Find wisdom in your life. Seek wisdom in all your experiences. The angel is seen guarding the gates of paradise. The angel prevents all from entering who do not know their own divine nature. The candle signifies the flame of wisdom, without which we are unable to experience the joys of paradise. So that's also kind of another thing here, to see past this illusion of what's going on and understand that there is actually something spiritual and magical that is coming into play, even though it looks like a tower moment, that it's actually bringing us this, right? So one is birthing the other. Let's read your oracle cards. So if you picked this one, okay, it's the never-ending story in reverse. That's a 10. So let's see that. 37. So this is a time to avoid drama at all costs, especially when it comes to other people's stuff. Your sensitivity is on overload these days, and you're best served by keeping your distance. Your mantra today is not my circus, not my monkeys. She's used that a couple of times in her other books also. All this drama will pass, and you will carry on unscathed and blameless. Let's read this one. Okay, so this is the flexible in reverse. Oh my God, this is a 10 too. So this is a 19, this is a 37, both are 10s. Let me read that protection for you. When you or someone else becomes too rigid, you lose the access to growth and untapped potential and find yourself in an us versus them scenario. Loosen up, open your mind and heart, and see if a more flexible approach feels better. Rigidity will only set you up for a fight where there are only losers and no winners. Could you find a way to bring about a result that is mutually beneficial? Meet in the middle. Spirit makes a great mediator. And then let's do this one. Here, this is the blessed card, and this is a 22. So I don't know where I saw that. I saw like a video on the 22 coming out a lot recently. Anyway, let me read this to you. So this says, there are moments in life when out of the blue, it seems that everything has been orchestrated by divine intervention. You feel blessed in ways that are difficult to express. It's as if the Red Sea parts in front of you and events come together to banish your troubles easily and naturally. You know deep down you did not deserve any of it, and yet here you are. This is one of those times. Let awe and gratitude for all your blessings guide you now. All right, so right on for those people. Good on you. The rest of us, I think it's about waking up. So some people are attuned to this energy. Some people might need to wake up to it. And because you might still be in this sort of shadow illusion thinking, and haven't yet moved into this space, because it's one of those things that when you focus, you know, whatever you focus on expands. So if you're focusing on the fear, that's what turns out to be more. If you focus on what you have and the richness and the fact that you're safe and healthy and here to do here for divine intervention, that you are protected by the ancestors, that there is a reason, a method to all this madness, and it will become clear, and you have a voice in that. The story starts to change, right? So we're really being granted in this period the very Piscean wisdom about this moment in history, about our own life calling, but also about how to increase this growth. So, you know, so really tune into, in this moment that we're all, you know, in some way, shape, or form in isolation because we're being asked to distance ourselves from other social people, or from socially. Use this time to really connect with that female intuition, whether you're a male or a female, about how to turn your light into something, into a seed that can grow and blossom and feed those around you and nurture those around you. What your truth is that can help this current state of our universe expand, open the doors to paradise. And if it's not paradise, you know, it might even be your own personal paradise, because that's what this talks about, is that you need that light, the light of wisdom, in order to see the paradise around you. So hope this was helpful. Wishing you all the very best. Again, have a look at my article on how to keep your spirits up in this time. They're sort of practical exercises. Most of them are based in science, though. So wishing you the very best, and I will see you in a few days. I'll do a reading for the rest of the month of March. Take care.